I was 13 winters old when the trouble began. Our village, Hollowmoor, was a forgotten place, trapped between a dead forest and a frozen marsh. Even the sunlight seemed afraid to linger there. The old stories whispered that the woods were ancient, older than the kingdom itself, and that something inside them did not sleep. My father used to warn me, if you ever see a lantern glowing in the trees after dark, turn back. No real traveler carries light that late, unless that traveler isn't alive. I believed him. Until the night I didn't. It started with a knocking at our door. Slow, heavy, it sounded wrong. My mother froze, her fingers tightening around her rosary. My father grabbed the old iron hook from the wall, the only weapon we owned. He wrenched the door open, ready for a fight. But no one was there, just the howling wind, just an unnerving silence that felt heavier than any sound. But then I saw it. At the edge of the forest, swaying gently between the skeletal trees, a single lantern glowed. The light was soft, pale, and unsteady. It looked like someone was waiting for us. Father cursed under his breath. Get inside, bar the windows now. But I couldn't look away. Something about that lantern felt familiar, almost comforting, like a voice I knew but couldn't quite place. That night, I had a dream. I saw a man with a broken jaw and a frayed rope still looped around his neck. He was holding a lantern that looked like it was carved from bone. He whispered to me, his voice a dry rustle of leaves. Come find me. I have your name. The next morning, the village was in chaos. Half the livestock were dead. There were no wounds, no signs of a struggle. They were just drained, as if the very life had been pulled right out of them. The elders called it a plague and started praying. But my father, his face pale, called it the Lantern Man. The legend was 100 years old. He was a thief, executed for his crimes, hanged but never given a proper burial. They said he was cursed to wander the woods at night, luring lost souls with his strange light, feeding on their fear and growing stronger with every life he claimed. I wanted to believe it was just a story, a tale to scare children. But that same night, the lantern appeared again, and this time it was closer. Its sickly glow flickered through the cracks in our wooden shutters, the light brushing against the walls like searching fingers. My father's voice was a low whisper in the dark. He's hunting. Someone called to him, and in that moment, a cold dread washed over me. I knew it was me. The dream I had wasn't just a dream, it was his. He had reached out to me. I tried to stay perfectly still, not even daring to breathe, but the lantern's light slid across the floorboards, creeping toward me until it stopped right at my feet, as if it had finally found what it was looking for. The door, which we had barred shut, creaked open all by itself. A blast of freezing air poured into our small home. The lantern floated silently in the doorway, and behind it, a figure began to take shape. It was the man from my dream. His skin was as gray as river sludge. His neck was twisted at an impossible angle from the noose. His jaw hung loose, like wet clay that had never set, and the lantern he held, it glowed with a fire that wasn't fire at all. It was cold, he rasped, the words scraping from his throat. You were promised to me. My father jumped between us, his iron hook raised. You will not take my son. The lantern man tilted his head, the motion jerky and unnatural. The lantern's glow shifted, stretching out like a long, thin shadow that wrapped around my father's throat. His breath caught, his eyes went wide with shock. He dropped the hook and fell to his knees, clawing at his neck. I screamed. The lantern flickered wildly, and suddenly, I wasn't in my house anymore. I was standing in the forest. Snow crunched under my bare feet. Dark figures hung from the branches above me like strange, frozen fruit. Whispers echoed from every direction, slithering through the trees. You belong here. The lantern man moved toward me, his lantern raised high. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding, absolutely terrified. I was trapped. But then my hand brushed against the rough bark of an old tree, and I saw a symbol carved into it, a spiral. It was the same spiral from the ancient tapestries in the village hall, a symbol of protection, the old magic, forgotten by most, but not entirely gone. Without thinking, I pressed my hand flat against it. The air around me trembled. A warm pulse shot up my arm and spread through the ground beneath my feet. The lantern man let out a low hiss. The light in his bone lantern sputtered like a dying ember. I pressed harder against the symbol, shouting words I didn't know I knew. A language older than Hollowmoor itself, a language of the earth and trees. The lantern in his hand began to crack. A terrible, soul-shattering scream tore through the woods, and then everything went black. I awoke in my own bed. The forest was gone. The cold was gone. My mother was kneeling beside me, crying with relief. My father was alive, breathing heavily but unharmed. The lantern was nowhere to be found. The elders say the forest has been quieter since that night. No more drained livestock, no more mysterious knocks at the door, and no more strange lights glowing in the trees. But still, every night before I sleep, if I look out my window, I can see a faint glow. It's far away, deep in the woods. A reminder, a warning. And if you ever find yourself passing near Hollowmoor, remember this: if you see a lantern in the woods after midnight, don't follow it, don't even look at it, because it already knows your name. Subscribe for more stories, before the lantern finds you too.